Hello and welcome. I am Exit Light and this is my channel, and tonight we're going to talk about the fact that there may be a serial killer in Austin, Texas. Before we get started, if you would please give this video a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you're not subscribed. Please leave comments below and share the video. That all helps my channel to be seen. Alright, let's talk about this, shall we? On June 3rd of this year, there was a 17-year-old body found, but his death is being said to be accidental. He was on the lake with his family. They were kayaking, boating, and he was last seen without a life jacket on, jumping off a rock shelf in the lake. And then he went missing, wasn't seen again until his body was found. That doesn't seem to be connected to this. It doesn't seem to be suspicious. However, if something changes, I'll let you know. There have also been women found. There was a woman who was 49 years old. Her name was Jennifer Lynn Atkinson, and police indicated that they do not believe that there was any foul play in her death. However, they had asked that if anyone had seen her or had any clues, that the department they should call in about was homicide. People who had seen her body on the beach said that it had washed up, face down, and she was naked. That's just one of the women. But today we're going to concentrate on the men. 19 men who have been found in one particular spot on Lady Bird Lake. And Austin is afraid that there is a serial killer. 3 years ago, a string of bodies started being pulled from Lady Bird Lake. This summer will mark 3 years since the first of a string of bodies turned up, sparking a rumor of an Austin serial killer. In 2022, 6 bodies were found in the murky waters of the lake. Rocael Lopez, Ricky Parks, Amos Olateo, Christopher Gutierrez, Kyle Thornton, and Yashu Moreno. Now, to be clear, Lady Bird Lake has seen its fair share of bodies in its waters. In its earliest days, it was called Town Lake, and before that it was simply called Colorado River. However, in 2022, this particular cluster of bodies all shared some striking similarities, all males with darker features. Yashu Moreno's death was caused by a gunshot wound, and then the rumor of a serial killer slowly started to gain traction because of the similarities between the men. And in 2023, when 5 more similar bodies were pulled from the water, Austin collectively birthed the term the Rainey Street Ripper. This name in particular was given because these 5 men, Jason John, Clifton Axtell, Jonathan Honey, John Christopher Hayes Clark, and Maga Duggal, were all said to have disappeared from their groups late at night on Rainey Street. In all cases, police ruled these deaths accidental, as drownings, except for Axtell, which they ruled as unknown. The police have reportedly said that this is not a serial killer. In fact, they overly report that it is not a serial killer. They say that there is no evidence to support that these deaths are suspicious in any way. The vast majority of these cases either involve someone suffering from a mental illness, substance abuse, or a medical illness. But for many in Austin, they aren't believing this. For one thing, most of the men were found with bruises on their bodies, and some with defense wounds on their hands, including bruises and scrapes on their knuckles. In early February of 2023, an Arkansas woman named Carissa Morgan caught wind of these deaths, and she started a Facebook page titled The Lady Bird Lake Serial Killer. And this group was made just 1 week after the death of Jason John. She was hoping that she could help catch this serial killer if people could get together and talk about what they knew, anything they'd heard, anything they'd seen. An early post in the group showed that Austin was desperate for answers. They were scared. They were afraid to go out at night. Mothers, fathers were afraid for their young men to go out at night, especially. And people were outright suspicious of the police. Since it was created, the group had grown to 92,000 members from all over the world. TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube content creators joined into this to see if they could help and demand answers. The reason why so many seem ready to call this a serial killer is because there really was an incredible uptick in bodies found in the lake during this time, and most of them were male, and some of them were last seen on Rainey Street, which is a street well known for its bars, bar hopping, partying. These are young men. And without the answers they wanted from the police department, the theory only grew. And it's very important to look at the timeline here because by 2023, the nation had already been through the George Floyd protests. We all remember that. And in Austin alone, police misconduct was widely reported. And according to a Gallup poll, nationwide trust in the police was at a record low during this time. Austin is a wealthy city. However, it has a very significant homeless and drug problem. It is also on the stop for sex traffickers, which tend to go from Alaska to Seattle to California, LA, Austin, over to Florida. So many people are sex trafficked through this area. They have a saying in Austin, and it is called Keep Austin Weird, which is one thing. They are, some of them, most of them, very artsy. They're very laid back. Many are well educated, talented, but it also draws a seedier side that we don't want to look at. My husband worked there for several years. It was hard to believe the amount of homeless that we saw, the amount of outright drug dealing that we saw, the amount of prostitution we saw. I'm not naive. I understand this is a large city, but it didn't seem as though there was any help. And like I had said before, the Austin Police Department was well known for being corrupt, which, in the case of human trafficking, you do need people to turn a blind eye. Would they also turn a blind eye to a serial killer killing young men? The people of Austin and beyond were simply not buying the accidental drowning excuse. According to a former Austin resident, Colin Browen, he stated, "The APD is just a very strange organization to me." So he started a Change.org petition in 2024 asking for the Austin Police Department to acknowledge that the Austin drownings may not be accidents. He went on to say, so many investigations have been completely botched. According to UT professor Kate Winslow Dawson, I think there have been enough instances in high-profile cases where the police, quite frankly, have screwed up that it makes people very suspicious already. Some people think that the police are lazy, that they don't care. And that may come from their own personal experience, or maybe it's a generational thing. She goes on to say that I think over the years the trust in the police has eroded for many different reasons. And in this case, it may be that the reason is that the Austin Police Department will refuse to discuss the deaths, the causes of deaths, other than to say mental illness or drunk or a medical issue. Men are more likely, they say, to wander away from a group of people if they've been out drinking. I don't know if that has ever been your experience. That has never been my experience. When I've been out with a group of people, including men, nobody strays away. So could it be that somebody is causing them to stray away, stopping them? Maybe they want to ask to use their telephone. Maybe they want to ask for money, something that distracts them long enough for their group to walk away, then to be found in the lake with defense wounds, badly beaten. Kate Winslow Dawson does say that she admits that the number of bodies found in the river in recent years does seem startling. But even Kate Winslow Dawson, in her comments, is snarky. She goes on to say that people feed off of each other. And if some people think it's a serial killer, the more people will think it's a serial killer. She says that these people love stories that are like puzzles, and they want to solve a puzzle. And she goes on to say, I wish a lot of them would just stick to Sudoku. It's unfortunate because many, many crimes have been solved, cold cases have been solved because of people who go on their free time and do the work that the police did not do. Help the people that have been forgotten, not by their families, but by the people who were supposed to protect them and to find who their killers were. Dimitri Hobbs, a PIO with the Austin Police Department from the years 2005 to 2024, also believes this whole string of death is just drunk guys walking straight into the water. Though he does say that the whole thing is, quote, weird. When asked why so many people at the exact same place, his answer was, who knows, who knows? It's a mystery. The detectives are the one who know the most. Well, according to the detectives, they're not sharing what they know. And in a corrupt police department, can we trust that they do want us to know? That they are the ones who know the most? For the last year or so, the Lady Bird Lake serial killer Facebook group has remained silent, and so has the Austin Police Department. It was just this recent death of the 17-year-old boy that caused it to bubble up again, caused the fear to come back. And because there hasn't been several bodies dumped recently, as we know, serial killers take breaks for many, many reasons. They get married, have a family, they are put in jail, they move, they die. That doesn't mean that there wasn't a serial killer to begin with, just because nothing's happening right this moment. My suspicion is that it will start again. I'm going to tell you a story now about a man who believes that he survived this serial killer. A man spoke out after he says that he was drugged while bar hopping with friends on West 6th Street in downtown Austin. I've been there many times, but I went for the Voodoo Donuts. He was found under a bridge with serious injuries. Jeff Jones was 38 years old at the time, and he was from Boston. He was visiting Austin for a bachelor party in June of 2023, and they had arrived on Thursday, June 22nd. They had dinner, and they headed to some bars on West 6th. He said, I hadn't felt strange at all. I hadn't even been drinking heavily. And the next thing he says he remembers is waking up in the hospital 1 week later. I had no idea, he said. His friends say that he disappeared around 1 a.m. after talking to some women at a bar. He said, I don't really know if specifically people had led me away. Luckily, 3 hours later, he was found in a ravine next to Shoal Creek, which is under the 6th Street Bridge. He said, it's a 3 or 4 foot wide old stone bridge, so for me to actually have somehow fallen over, it would have been almost impossible. I would have had to have been there and have had to have been pushed over or, been climbing next to it or something all by myself, which he doesn't believe is something that he would do. He's not that kind of a guy. He was with a group of people. They were having a lot of fun. Why would he wander off and go to a bridge or try and climb a bridge? He has no memory. Whoever found him called 911. He was barely conscious at the time, and he didn't remember a thing. He said, I broke a number of vertebrae, also my left scapula and 2 ribs, and there was a puncture wound through my elbow. Medics rushed him to Del Seton Medical Center, where he tested positive for benzodiazepines, which include the date rape drug Rohypnol. That frightened him. Obviously, that would frighten anybody. He goes on to say that there was no reason I would have had that in my system. I was having drinks, and very easily someone could have gotten me drugged. Would it have been the women? Would the women do that for somebody that was making them? He was put in a medically induced coma, and he underwent back surgery with doctors implanting metal rods. And then they went into his chest area to remove his spleen and stop some hemorrhaging in his kidneys, liver, and lungs. After initially being revived, he had to have fluid drained from his lungs. He then spent a month recovering at his sister's house in New Hampshire. He said, I'm incredibly lucky. If I had landed, obviously, on my head or my neck, it would have been so much worse. Looking back, Jones says that he urges people to keep a close eye on their drinks. Women have been told this for decades. Do not leave a drink. Given recent cases of people being drugged, as well as bodies found in Ladybird Lake, which police don't believe to be suspicious, but which have left bar goers looking over their shoulders, he says, I don't know if it's a serial killer. I don't know if it's a criminal behavior or people just trying to take advantage of others. But he's clearly warning the people who go to 6th Street, to Rainey Street, to any bar, anywhere. There are people who prowl. And whether the police want to admit it or not, whether the police want to count his case as being connected to those other 19 men, which they don't seem to have, it doesn't matter. What matters is to trust your gut, watch your back. If you're with a group of friends, make sure you all watch each other's backs. Don't leave your drinks, ever. And if you know anything about this, if you've heard anything, if you've seen anything, there are ways to call anonymously. And if you have to, you can contact something like the FBI. This is a serial case. They should be involved. So far, the Austin Police Department isn't worried about it. You should be. Thank you for coming to my channel, and good night.